Please have a seat.
Thank you.
So, Nupur, how are you feeling today? Your labor has succeeded. So much of hard work and
Yes, sir. So I'm feeling very, very happy today, so as to get a chance to interact with a few people, as well as to get a chance to finally achieve my dream and fulfill this dream.
I find that you are from New Delhi. You are from Delhi
Yes, sir.
and you did your ICT from Delhi Technological University.
So I have done electronics and communication engineering from Delhi Technological University.
And in 2014.
Yes.
So in between, you did qualify for interview once or twice?
So thrice.
Thrice.
Yes.
What went wrong?
So initially, in the first attempt, I had less marks in both mains as well as interview. The second one, I had scored well in mains but not in the interview. In the third time, I got higher marks in interview but not in mains. So I think that was.
So how much did you score each time, starting with 2016? Interview marks.
So in my first interview, I got 150. In the second one, I got 116. And in the third one, I got 170 marks.
So good progress and good marks.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
And after doing electronic and communication, you want to join civil service,
Yes.
right?
Sir, I want to join civil services because I think that will give me a diverse platform to serve the nation. Apart from the diverse work opportunities, I'll also get to be a part of policy implementation as well as policy formulation stage. Sir. And sir, especially after doing electronics and communication engineering, I think that the basic essence of EC, that is the communication, or that is to dissect a problem into various small problems and then work upon it. That is the basic essence of administration also. Sir, I think this is where EC will help me to get into administration and to be a good administrator.
So what qualities do you see in a bureaucrat?
Sir,
Should he be flexible?
Yes, sir, definitely. He should be flexible as far as the policy implementation is concerned, as well as formulation if it is to serve the nation. Sir, I think he should be flexible on the ground. Apart from flexibility, there are various other qualities, sir. One is the leadership. Second is the ethics or ethos to serve at the ground level. So the third but not the least one, that is high efficiency. She should be very efficient on the ground, sir.
Okay, you said he should be flexible, but Sardar Patel said that bureaucracy should be like the iron frame of India. So you still believe that bureaucrats should be flexible? If so, under what circumstances you think his flexibility is justified?
Sir, if the matter or if the situation is regarding the ethics, is regarding the very essence of the governance. So, for example, to be zero tolerance to corruption or zero tolerance to communalism, or have a motive towards good governance. So, in that sense, he should be very rigid to the laws and to the principles as has been framed by the government of India. So, but as far as implementing it on ground. So, for example, if while administrating, if she gets to come across a woman who doesn't have proper documentation so as to avail some government benefits, but if she thinks that she is an eligible beneficiary of the said scheme, then I think she should be flexible on grounds.
Okay, so looking at case to case and helping
Yes.
the poorest of the poor,
Yes.
where you can really interpret the law in favor of, that is when your flexibility should be.
Yes.
And have you come across good bureaucrats and bad bureaucrats? Whom do you rate as good bureaucrat? Whom do you rate as bad? Any example?
So fortunately or unfortunately, I've come across only good bureaucrats in my life. So the first one I would like to quote is Kiran Bedi ma'am. I think she is a very good bureaucrat. So the second one whom I personally admire is Smita Sabharwal ma'am, who's an IAS again.
But what about corruption amongst bureaucracy? You think that is a growing problem, or you think it is confined? And that is why some people say that iron frame is cracking because the corruption is increasing. What is your take on corruption in bureaucracy?
Sir, it is unfortunate that the one of the biggest problems in Indian bureaucracy or corruption. Sir, but I think that we give us a number of initiatives that have recently been taken by the government as well as the bureaucracy themselves. We are doing a good job on ground, and right now we are seeing that more and more honest officers are coming up on ground. Sir, we have actually dealt with the corruption problem with both the demand as well as the supply side of it. So right now the citizens are also more aware about their own rights and what are the duties of the bureaucrat. And so for example, citizen charter, right to information, and SADHya. So as well as the sir, demand, the supply side of corruption has also improved to a great extent.
So you can talk of transparency, you can talk of various agencies
Yes.
who have started functioning, and the fact that the corruption definitely get caught at
Yes.
some stage of it. Consolidate your reply because this is very, very crucial. And now we come to judiciary. Integrity of judiciary at times is questioned when judiciary accepts appointments after retirement. What is your opinion on judges being given re-employment or appointed after their retirement? Is it justified? They can be appointed as MPs or in various committees, commissions. So what is your take on independence of judiciary is getting hit with government offering them such appointments?
Sir, although there is no such provision which bars the judiciary or the judges to come and accept the post, sir, but I think that, but according to some of the people, they say that it hurts or it hits the independence of judiciary, wherein they start giving decisions on the basis of favoring the government so as to get lucrative posts afterwards. So, but I think that the judges come up with a plethora of experience in various fields as well as an actual knowledge of the realities on ground. Their experience should be of can be of very high significance to the people of India. So, but at the same time, there should be proper safeguards for the same. There should be a cool-off period which should be there after retirement, after which the judges can accept those positions.
Okay, you are electronic and communication.
Yes.
So I am sure you know what is a Pi Day. We recently celebrated Pi Day. You know what is pi in mathematics. So what is Pi Day and when we celebrate Pi Day?
I'm sorry, sir, I'm not aware about when it is celebrated, but pi is an imaginary number, is a non-real number, which is 22 by 7. Its actual value is still under consideration, or it gets repeated after a point of time. That's why.
Is that how you define pi? No. Tell me, as electronic student, you have studied mathematics. How do you define pi?
I'm sorry, sir, I'm not aware about the
Circumference
actual.
divided by
Yeah.
diameter is pi, which is
Yes.
universal constant.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
So that is how you define pi. There is another term called tau. What is tau? Some mathematicians don't use diameter, they use radius.
Yes.
So twice pi is out.
Thank you, sir.
So, okay, let's come to, let me give you the reply. Pi's value is 3.14. So 14th March is celebrated as
Pi.
International Pi Day.
Thank you, sir.
And this year is 2020.
Yes.
What is significance of this year? What is significance of 2020? Very unique thing about it.
Sir, it's a leap year.
It is a leap year. What is a leap year?
Sir, leap year is the one in which February month is having 29 days instead
And
of.
why is it called leap?
Sir, because it comes after 4 years.
So why is it called leap?
Sir, I'm not very
Is
sure
it
about
always
it.
division by 4? Will 2000 be a leap year? Will 2000 be a leap year?
Yes, sir, 2000 is also a leap year. Sir, but the case, sir, leap is usually a big jump or a jump kind of thing. So when we are jumping, means 3 years have been jumped and then the 4th year is called a leap
Okay.
year. That's why.
Okay, let's come to certain issues with regard to your technical side. Is 5G a new technology or is it an extension of 4G?
Sir, it is both. An extension of 4G because we are using QAM, that is the quarter virtual multiplexing technique of 4G and 5G. Sir, it is new in its term because it is using MIMO technique. MIMO means maximum input, maximum output technique, wherein instead of having one user at a time, we are having multiple users as input frequency, sir. And we are using a spread spectrum theory in 5G technique. So, in that sense, it's both a continuation of 4G as well as a new.
So what kind of jobs will be created under 5G environment? Just give me the nature of job that will get created in addition to what all is happening today. 5G, now think of 5G as if it has been implemented. What jobs will be created?
Sir, there will be a number of jobs. One would be related to the various technologies that 5G will evolve into. So the Internet of Things, the artificial intelligence, the big data, it will get strengthened, and there will be a number of jobs for the skilled professionals as well as the analytics who will have a work after 5G, who will get employed. So apart from these, there will be a huge generation of infrastructure which will again lead to on-ground workers on ground. So both the blue collar as well as the technical jobs will be created through it. So apart from all these jobs, we need some administrators on ground as well as the telecom companies so as to deal with this technology, as well as some good regulators to be there so as to regulate so that it is not getting misused afterwards. So according to some of the studies, it will lead to around an addition of around 2 lakh jobs in India.
1.5 lakh jobs in India. Very good. Recently, Prime Minister had a video conferencing with SARC.
Yes.
Why can't we have similar system instead of people visiting the other country? What is significance of physical visit of head of state? Why don't we adopt this very system of video conferencing?
Sir, although there is no such deficiency, no such lacuna in meeting through video conferencing, but this video conferencing was more a result of an outbreak of corona disease. So the people-to-people visits usually lead to a number of things. So number one, tourism gets enhanced. Number two, the exchange of culture and the various values which happen on ground when we are meeting the other person face to face is very high, sir. So thirdly, when we are meeting through video conferencing and when we are not meeting in person, the kind of bonhomie or the kind of a shared experience that the people have by meeting physically, that's very low, sir. So apart from these things, I think the technology is the one which is not not accessible to a number of poor people across the world. Technology and the very video conferencing technique is right now a luxury, valuable to only a handful of people around the world. So by having people-to-people contact, we are more leaning towards.
You missed out on the most important aspect that we signed various deals, agreements,
Yes.
and MOUs, and signing cannot be done through video conference, and then delegations come. So many things are discussed during the delegation. Rest all you have covered. Last question I want to ask you is what is organic farming?
Sir, organic farming is the kind of farming wherein the use of fertilizers as well as the pesticides is very less, and there is more focus towards the traditional methods of farming. So the basic advantages of organic farming or paramparagat farming, as the government usually calls it, is very high health benefit associated with the same, sir. The quality of soil also remains intact. The associated soil pollution, water pollution, and other environmental pollutions are also decreased. So there are various health benefits associated with the less number of pesticides and chemicals we have in our diets. So I think these
And
are.
productivity also goes up.
Yes, sir. The productivity, and on top of it, sir, it is very labor-intensive process. So India being a labor surplus country, we can have a number of employment generation activities through organic farming.
One more thing that you must add in your reply. Health of the farmer
Yes.
with the use of pesticide or insecticide, his health is getting compromised.
Yes.
You know how many people are suffering from cancer and renal diseases because of pesticide. Very good, very well said. But don't forget to add these two things.
Thank you.
You have organized entrepreneurship summit in your college.
Yes, sir.
So, what are the characters an entrepreneur should have?
So the first, there are various factors or qualities of a good entrepreneur, sir. The first one being the risk-taking ability. He should be a good risk taker on ground, sir. So apart from that, he should not be affected by the number of failures, because in entrepreneurship, the failure rate is very high as compared to the success rate, sir. So thirdly, he should have a very good sixth sense or a great B plan so as to deal with the current situation and the future solutions, sir. So apart from all these things, there should be a basic literacy or a basic wisdom or knowledge that he must possess so as to retain and attract talent in his own companies.
So, what are the problems in entrepreneurship in India?
Sir, in entrepreneurship basically rests on three pillars. The one is the B plan or the idea of the entrepreneur. So the second one is the labor, and the third one is the finance. Sir, in India, we do have a number of B plan ideas, sir, but the access to finance is a problem. I mean, they don't have adequate access to finance, and there is a shortage of skilled labor force in India as far as the entrepreneurship or the startups are concerned.
Okay. Oh, with respect to female, if I have to say, then what are the problems with female entrepreneurship in India? Why we are not able to promote female entrepreneurship?
So there are a number of factors apart from the ones being listed earlier, that finance and labor force. So the additional challenges that a female entrepreneur usually faces. An entrepreneurship is a 24/7 job, sir, which becomes very difficult for a female entrepreneur to retain and to continue, given the various challenges, given the various responsibilities she already has because of her home and various other things, sir. So the second major thing is the lack of adequate entrepreneurship is concerned. So the culture of Indian families, wherein Usually the females are more associated with the pink collar jobs or with teaching or nursing. This is something which is very challenging and which is not being supported adequately at the society levels.
Is Government of India making any effort to bring that differences, or that differences should be reduced?
Yes, sir. There are a number of initiatives being taken by the Government of India. One is the Startup Stand Up India scheme. The second is the Mudra Yojana, wherein a number of loans, around 60% of them are given to the female.
What is the Stand Up India scheme?
So the Stand Up India Startup India scheme is a scheme by the Government of India, wherein it gives out loans to various females, SC, ST, and other backward classes entrepreneurs for their startups. So the loan amount varies from around 75 lakhs to 10 crores.
What is the current status of the Stand Up India scheme? Is it getting successful?
Yes, sir. It is one of a very successful scheme wherein around 5 lakh entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, have been given the loan amount, and the loan amount is around 7.5 lakh crores. So that has been a success model. So apart from these, the number of companies that have come up, being female entrepreneurs at the top, they have also increased to a great extent in India, sir.
Can you tell me 3 case study where the female has been successful in promoting under the Startup India scheme?
So the first example is Menstrupedia by Aditi Gupta. The second example here is the Aglasem website that has been founded by. So there are 2 entrepreneurs for this year. One is Aditi Bala and the other one is Vikas Meena. So they have got interest by the name of the female entrepreneur and the Startup India scheme. And so the third example that I would like to quote here is, although that is not associated per se with the Startup India scheme, but it is a very successful initiative. So Zivame by Richard.
Okay. So you see in India there is a problem of women in science area. Why women are not in science field?
So it is unfortunate that the number of women in science streams in India is low as compared to their potential. So there are various reasons for this. The first one being the dropout rates that is high in the terms of girls as compared to boys, right from 9th, 10th class to upper middle class to college education and then higher education. So the second one is the curriculum of the university or the university level problems that are there, wherein there is a lack of adequate role models in science, of women in science. So thirdly, there is also a glass ceiling kind of effect which is there in various research institutes, wherein women, they are, so right now the things are changing on ground, but initially it was said that the females are not being encouraged to participate in the same level as they should have been promoted. So, but right now, again, the things are changing. Even the National Science Day, which was celebrated just a few days back, had this theme, Women in Science in India. Sir.
Yes. Okay. So tell me what Government of India has done so far to promote women in science field.
So the first major example is the National Science Day, which recently went back, the National Science Day, having theme as Women in Science. So secondly, the government is promoting the education of women as far as in all the streams, be it science, engineering or arts. The government is promoting their education by giving them a number of scholarships under various programs.
Is there any specific scheme?
I'm sorry, yes, sir, I'm not able to remember that specific scheme of women in science.
Okay.
Okay, Nupur. So you are from Narela.
Yes, sir.
Okay. After the World War I, Narela was declared as notified area by Delhi administration. Do
Yes.
you know about it?
Yes.
Okay, what are the advantages associated with it?
Sir, by being recognized as a notified area, Narela came up directly on the map of the British administered region. Uh, Sir, it also led to setting up of, I think, two MCD schools in Narela after World War One, which was a progressive step by the British government at that point of time, sir. Apart from that, sir, there were a number of health institutions which came up, especially at that time. So I think these three were the main.
And can you tell us about the Delhi Metro's master plan for phase 4 for Narela?
Sir, according to the Delhi government's master plan, Narela would be connected by the Rithala metro station, which is on Red Line, during the phase 4, which is to be completed by 2035. Although there are various sub-plans under metro phase 4 project, but Narela is earmarked to be in the last phase of the series.
Okay, and you are in electronics and communication engineer.
Yes.
Okay. How will you explain 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G to a common man?
So to a common man, the basic difference between 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G is the increase in the speed with which we can communicate with one another. So the other major difference is the exchange in terms of voice as well as data, which gets increased when we come to 5G. So apart from all these things, the quality and the number of users who can use the said technology also rises as we move up the frame to 5G. Sir, I think these
What
are.
about bandwidth?
Yes, sir. The bandwidth also increases. Thank you, sir. So in the 2G, whereas we are talking in terms of kbps or in microhertz frequency, in 5G we move on to megahertz frequency. That is the main difference.
Okay, and you are also currently undergoing masters in public administration.
Sir, I completed the same last year. Sir.
Actually, you have completed
Yes.
the same. Okay. Why for that?
Sir, because I thought that when I have to prepare for civil services, and civil services is all about administration. When I went through the syllabus of public administration, I found it to be more relatable, and I found it interesting to read. So that's why I took public administration as an optional in civil services. While studying the same, I developed a liking for the same, and I decided to have a proper formal degree in this.
Okay, and can you elaborate about your education background, how it can help you in public administration, especially electronics and communication engineering?
So going by the term itself, communication, electronics and communication, which also consists of communication. So as has been rightly pointed out by Bernard, that communication is the backbone of any administration. So I think to be a good administrator, I have to be a good communicator. There should be a communication both with the seniors, peers, as well as the people I am contacting to, and the policies and the people whom the policies will be getting affected. All should be taken into account. So apart from these, there is a theory of black box in electronics and communication system theory, sir. Wherein, irrespective of the input, we should always take into consideration that there can be some other factors involved as far as the output is concerned. So this is the lifeline, or this is one of the essence of the governance as far as a democratic system that is India is concerned. So I think these are the two major takeaways.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, can you see any positive impact of COVID-19?
Sir, it has been a blessing in disguise in a number of stages. One was the revival of SAP. The second one is the opening up of a number of economic avenues that were initially not there or we were uncompetitive to. Because of the closing down of a number of global supply chains of the world, India has right now become a new alternative mechanism or a new alternative supplier of those things on the global scale. So the third major advantage is, or positive, that has come up after COVID-19 is the awareness towards the personal hygiene and security. We have started washing our hands, we have started using the water in the toilets instead of the toilet paper because of the lack of toilet papers on a global arena.
We've started respecting nature also.
Yes, sir. We have started respecting nature. Even the system of Namaste has not only remained Indian now, it has become a global phenomenon right now.
And back to family days.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Exactly. Okay, now let's one last question from your hobby section. So you have mentioned something about sweets.
Yes, sir.
What is exactly that?
So I like making North Indian desserts.
Not in desserts.
Yes.
Who called this term dessert?
So dessert is a French term which basically means to complete a dish. Or
Okay.
yes, sir.
So name a few desserts which hold a GI tag.
So there are many desserts. One is Tirupati Laddu, which holds a GI tag. The second one is the Nagpur sweet, Nagpur Son Papdi, orange Son Papdi, sir. So the third one is the Odisha Rasgulla. So the fourth one I would like to talk about is double ka meetha, which is also called Shahi Tukda in UP and double ka meetha in Hyderabad. So I think these four are the major ones.
And sweet made of Alfonso. Alfonso is also GI tag. Okay, just one thing. You talked of communication.
Yes.
Right, your communication is a subject, but does it involve communication skills? So let us see your communication. You are supposed to go to Shaheen Bagh and convince the Shaheen Bagh protesters that in view of COVID-19 and the fact that matter is getting due attention to process of law, they should call up. So how will you communicate with them in 2 minutes to convince them to call off this mass gathering, which can be risky also?
Sir, if you allow me to think for some time.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, sir. मेरे प्यारे भाइयों और बहनों, आप सभी को पता है, आप सबको अभी तक पता चल ही गया होगा कि आज हमारे देश में या हमारे पूरे संसार में सबसे बड़ा जो खतरा है वह है कोरोना वायरस। जब भी ये एक ऐसी बीमारी है जो सिर्फ आपकी सांस लेने से ही फैलती है। अगर आपने सांस लिया, किसी चीज़ को छुआ या आपने खांसा तो ये फैलती है। ऐसे संक्रमण, ऐसे जीवाणु की वजह से ये हुआ है जिसका अभी तक पूरे संसार में कोई भी दवाई जिसकी नहीं बनाई गई है। भाइयों और बहनों, हालांकि हम अपनी पुरजोर कोशिश कर रहे हैं इसको ठीक करने की या इसके लिए प्रॉपर दवाइयाँ लेके आने की, पर हम सबको अपने जीवन की जिम्मेदारी खुद ही उठानी चाहिए। आप सभी को पता है कि दिल्ली सरकार ने अगर कोई भी मीटिंग हो रही है 20 लोगों से ज़्यादा, उसको बैन कर दिया है। वो खुद सोच समझ के ही बैन किया है। आप यहाँ पर बैठे हैं, मैं ये नहीं कह रही हूँ कि आप अपना ये प्रोटेस्ट बंद कर दीजिए, आप इसको चालू रखिए। पर कोई भी प्रोटेस्ट तभी काम करता है जब आप जीवित रहते हैं। इसीलिए सरकार यह चाहती है, हम यह चाहते हैं, हम सब आपके खिलाफ नहीं हैं। हम सब यह नहीं कह रहे हैं कि आप अपनी सारी ज़रूरतें या सारी डिमांड्स भूल जाए, छोड़ दें। हम सिर्फ ये कह रहे हैं कि आप अपना ध्यान रखिए, आप बाकी सभी का ध्यान रखिए और साथ ही साथ फिर उन डिमांड्स को पूरा करवाइए।
Okay. And diary writing, what do you write in diary? Have you given a name to your diary or to yourself to keep it a secret? You keep it under lock and key.
Sir, I keep it secret, but I have not given such a name to my diary. I usually call it by diary itself.
So what do you jot down?
Sir, I basically use it as a task manager, wherein the things which I am supposed to do tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, jot down the same, and I use it so as to analyze my own performance and then to improve upon the same. Apart from these things, sir, I also use it as a stress buster mechanism, wherein I think I am in a better state to deal with the people around. Have I mentioned the said fights with them that I did?
Okay, we close your mock.
Okay, one question regarding public administration. What is public choice theory?
So the public choice theory is a new liberal theory in public administration which talks about the managerial philosophy in public administration. It says that the market is based on the individual choices, and individual choices are the best mechanisms so as to deal with, so as to increase the public service delivery of goods and services. Sir.
Is it possible to implement in education sector?
Sir, it is possible wherein the education sector can be utilized so as to get more access to technology, more qualitative education. Sir, but we usually consider education as a social good, so we don't really, appreciate the commercialization of education in that aspect. Sir.
How public choice theory can increase in social capitalization?
Sir, the public choice theory is basically giving rise to more say of individuals, private sector in the governance. So in a way, it is giving rise to corporate social responsibility, to the various research being done by the private sector. Sir, I think in that respect, it is giving rise to good governance and other social goods.
Why it is called as new liberal?
Sir, because it is a combination of both new as well as liberal. Liberal because it is giving more freedom to the private sector as well as the citizens and government to deal with the various problems at hand. And new because it is a new philosophy, it is a newness, there is a newness in the same, sir, by the application of private sector principles and how the government is administering on ground.
Okay, Nupu, we close your mock here. You can just go out with confidence.
Thank you, sir.